best friend gave me the best advice. He said each day's a gift and not a given right. Leave no stone unturned, leave your fears behind, and try to take the path less traveled by. That first step you take is the longest ride. If today was your last day and tomorrow was too late, could you say goodbye to yesterday? Or would you live each moment like your last? Leave old pictures in the past, donate every dime you had. If today was your last day.
That stuff, what was
It's
going
just
on?
joint pain. It's almost like arthritic. You have pains in your elbows. You just sort of hurt all over. You basically even hurt to the touch. You're just tired. You just have no strength. You just can't get out of bed. I believe that you have to have a positive, that part of, you have to be positive. You have to believe that you can do it. You have to push forward. You have to be happy. You have to enjoy it. And, you know, it is, you have to stay positive. I mean, I just think that if you think that you can't, you can't. And if you think that you can, then you can. And I think that you should do, everything you do should be, you give it 100%, you should have fun doing it. I just, you know, I just feel like that, you know, having a positive mental attitude is what, you know, one of the reasons why I'm still attempting to do Boston. You know, I could quit. It would be easier to quit. But, you know, I'm so positive, I'm so sure that I can do this, and I'm convincing my mind that that's what I think I can do. I think your mind has a lot of power over you. I think your mind will convince you that you can do it. And I always say, when people say to me, well, you know, that class wasn't hard, I'll tell them that they didn't push hard enough. Because if you got to 15 and John wasn't at 15 yet, then you should have done 17 by yourself. So I continue to push myself. Today, I actually was very excited because I finally got to 25 push-ups without having to stop. But I can remember being at 4, I can remember being at 12, I can remember being at 16. So every time I'm in class, I challenge myself. It's all about what I'm doing. It's not really, you know, it is about what the class is doing, but it's about the number of repetitions. And it's never easy. No class is ever easy. But I think that you really have to push yourself, you have to motivate yourself, but I think you have to challenge yourself to get to the 25 push-ups. I could have quit at 20, I mean, I would have been fine. But, you know, to get to 25 in that 1 minute was huge for me. And I consider those, I have like little victories all day long, all morning long when I'm in boot camp, you know, and I say, you know, that was a great day, 25. Or, you know, I ran all the way back and I didn't stop. Or I hit Mount Vernon and I didn't stop at Mount Vernon. So I think that every day for me, I look at all of the challenges that John sets out as little challenges and try to do better and try not to stop at the mailbox, you know, try to get to the top, try not to rest too long, try to do what John says. I think first and foremost, scheduling your appointment for boot camp, weight training, your running, scheduling those times is key. You can't just wing it, particularly when you have 2 children, a husband, a full-time job. You really have to do that. I think a lot of people don't. The other thing that's important is that when I first started working out with John, he said to me, you really need to sign up for something if you want to run. Because one of my goals when I joined John in the indoor boot camp was to be able to run and to be able to do outdoor boot camp. That was my goal, lofty as it was at the time. And John kept saying to me, if you don't run, Gina, you can't come to boot camp. And I could not imagine not being out with these guys 3 months, because it was probably starting December, January, February, March, and outdoors about to start. I could not imagine what my life would be like if I couldn't do this anymore. So I listened to John. He set me up with a training plan, and then I put a race on the calendar. And a friend of mine has multiple myeloma, And I thought, well, this is a 5K, I can do this. And I put it on the calendar, and I never said anything. And then I told John probably 5 days before the race, and he said, why didn't you tell me? I'll run it with you. And we did. And I actually won in my age category. It was my very first race. I still think about that, and I still laugh. But I think that from then on, John consistently had me, we discussed what my goal was, and I put something on the calendar.
If today was your last day, if today was your last day, would you make your mark like mending a broken heart?
Because every time, we have a run or something to do, you really need to prepare. You need to have the Gatorade, you need to have the chocolate milk, you need to have the fish, you need to have all of those things that you need to get through a race. And I guess I've taken on making sure that all my kids are taken care of in the Beantown Boot Camp family. And some of them aren't kids. Some of them are in their 40s, and there's someone who's just a little bit younger and a little older than I am. But that's my role. And I think that as long as they continue to see me doing that and continue to struggle through my illnesses and my difficulties, I think that they feel almost embarrassed not to show up at boot camp for the fear that someday I'll say to them, hey, where have you been all week? And I do take great pride in torturing them when they don't show up. What I lost was body fat. I didn't gain muscle, I just lost body fat, so from all of that. But in the end, I found that the amount of body fat that you lose is really more important than what the number on the scale says. And I think to this point I've probably lost 27 pounds, and my body fat, is that the right thing? Body fat, right?
Yeah.
20 something from like 18.7 to maybe 21 or 22.
So
from
reduction
35.
reduction of about 15%.
About 15%.
Awesome.
For me, I didn't really have the nutrition under control, and after talking with John, we decided that I would go back and work with the nutritionist. And the most important thing is that people think that you can go out and run, but you really need to fuel your body for any exercise that you're doing. You really need to make sure that you have the fuel, because your body's like a car. If you don't put the right fuel in it, or enough fuel to get to Connecticut, then your body's not going to get to Connecticut. The same is true about the Boston Marathon, the preparation for the Boston Marathon. And you really need to, preparation doesn't start 16 weeks before Boston. The preparation starts long before that, and changing your eating habits. And I think nutrition is key. Proper hydration. I have to say that the one thing that I enjoy the most when talking about Boston is that people say to me, you would do it again? And I said the day after, I said absolutely. I trained well, I hydrated, I learned about nutrition, I learned what to eat, I learned about protein, I learned about all the things that made a difference. And when I finished in slightly under 5 hours, 4:56 or whatever that was, I felt good and I was ready to go. But it was all the preparation before that. Nutrition is key, and if you don't get the nutrition down, you're not going to get there. And if you think you know how to eat, I can assure you you don't. He's the professional. I didn't try to think that I knew better than he did. He needed to tell me what to do. And when I, like I say, still today, I'm afraid to tell John that I'm going to do something, because then if I don't do it, I feel like I've disappointed him. I feel like I've sort of let him down. And I think that when you stop feeling like you've let them down, your trainer down, then you probably shouldn't do it anymore, because you don't care enough anymore. And that's really what's made it work. So, and I think
Cool.
that's important. I don't imagine that I would quit. I can't. Because now, in retrospect, when I look at what I have accomplished and, my health situation, I realize that in order for me to stay healthy, that this has got to be a way of life. I see myself continuing to push, to set goals, to continuing to maintain, where I'm at. I love doing the weights. I love doing the boot camp. I love working out. I'm never bored. Every day is different for me. I see myself continuing on this path, but I also, at Beantown Boot Camp, the one thing that really gives me pleasure is that I know there are so many of those young ladies in that class who look to me and who expect me to be there. So I'm not going to leave them because I've seen the great successes that they've had. I've seen 4 or 5 of them run half marathons that never thought they could do it. So for me, I imagine I'll continue on this path and try to do different things. We'll do that from Vermont to 100 miler. I'd love to do, I don't like the water. I'd love to someday do a triathlon. We're going to try to do it this year. We're going to do the Sidetracked. But I'd like to do a mini triathlon. And because I'm afraid of the water. So for me, that would be a big accomplishment to be able to do a mini triathlon because I don't like the water. So, I continue to set goals and to become empowered by my accomplishments and to continue to keep my health in check.
Tomorrow was too late. Could you say goodbye to yesterday? Or would you live each moment like your last? Leave old pictures in the past. Donate every dime you had. And would you call those friends you never see? Reminisce on memories. Would you forgive your enemies? And would you find that one you dreamed of? Well,